Hello, students. It's Tuesday, as promised. I'm posting materials for our second unit, lesson number 5. Um, and I've returned from the land of the writing workshop, so to speak, and I'm at my house here in Chadron, and I've been able to spend a good day concentrating on my courses. And I really want to just very briefly just say to everybody I'm extremely pleased and impressed with your responses so far. We've had a very active group, and I haven't necessarily been able to express that because I've been away from internet and I've been distracted by some other duties, but you all have really stepped up. We have a very interesting and diverse group of people from across the country. I don't think we have anybody this year on the west coast or very far west of Chadron like we did last summer, but we have some people in Florida joining us and some people down in Phoenix, Southwest, I guess, and we have some people, person up in New York State, and it's encouraging. It's really interesting, and I really appreciate the breadth of experiences that we are um, uh, working with in this course, and I just wanted to give everybody kudos. That's really all the screencast is meant to do. Um, you're working on a quiz for today, and quite a few of you are still working on that and getting ready to post it by noon today. And I just wanted to say that today in lesson number 5, if you click in lesson number 5, you'll see that we have another reading quiz. And then on Thursday, you'll have a reading quiz on the assigned chapter from Learning to Serve that day. And I know that these can get tedious. If we were meeting in a classroom, we would maybe have an in-class group activity or a quiz. But at a certain point, we have to be able to illustrate that we are exploring and reading these very crucial concepts in the book. So I have to be able to somehow um, chart that, and through these quizzes, there's this idea that you can respond to the prompts, get some feedback when the quizzes are graded. Maybe there will be some model responses in the quiz that when the quiz is closed, you can go see the grading, and it in some ways takes place of in-class discussion. So that's one of the trade-offs usually when you do an online course. You're going to do a lot more of that individual work. But I recognize that it's a challenge to do these quizzes. That's also why I've set them so that you can I'm not interested in a timed 1 hour sort of response. It's about your reflection, so you can go back multiple times and repeat the quiz if you want and update it. And I hope that's what you do, that you interact with the readings and you interact with the quiz questions. And so I just wanted to stress that. Just do your best on the quizzes. I'm not looking for perfect novels type responses and things like that. I just want some sense that you're getting the elements of the book, the chapter of the book, and so don't get too overwhelmed with the work. We're doing a lot of work, as we know that this is an 8-week class, and we have a lot of terrain to cover. But this week we really are concentrating on we've done the groundwork. We're now getting our service projects really underway. And so what you're going to do today, in addition to the quiz, and I've clicked into lesson number 5 here, you'll see that we're going to do a forum. And in this forum, you are going to basically workshop your tentative project proposals. Now, the project proposals are due next Monday, and you can certainly start working on these. All the materials that you need are in our main Unit 2 forum, and if you click on that under Resources, Proposal and Action Plan, you'll see that there is the guideline at the top. And the forum today just asks you to basically to summarize what kind of project you think you might do. When you eventually turn in your draft proposal, I will give you very specific feedback, and I will let you know at that time if the project is doable or not. If you have questions about that, if you're collaborating, if you have, you're not certain about whether something, some of you have already contacted me about this, go ahead and email me and I'll work individually with you on it. If you need to start doing some of the actual service work because there's a timing issue, that usually doesn't occur until after next week. Once your proposals are accepted, then you begin this course of action service, and it's planned into the course. So we know that those weeks you're doing those 15 hours of service. But if you need to start early because of timing and you don't know when people will be, or you want to get a head start, contact me. You'll have to work externally because we're trying to work this project through in sequential steps. But we can sort of accommodate that. But just the key is to be in communication with me. And please review the handout very carefully. It has a lot of detail. I said in my lesson notes today, you've gotten a lot of materials. And the idea is that this gets presented to you and it's overwhelming amount of stuff. But then you go back to it and you start to get it, and you start to get it, and you go back to the handout, and you go back to the resources that I posted, and hopefully these are helpful to you. If you try and digest it all in what's too big of a meal, so you need to take your time, go back, make sure you understand the concept of the project, know where the resources are, work one step at a time. That's what we're trying to do, but have a sort of broader overview in mind and an end goal. The other thing I was going to recommend is that you pay close attention to these sections. Remember, if you are working in a team project, if you're planning on working on a team project, you'll be able to address that a little bit more in the forum for today. But it's getting a little noisy outside here next to the road. You'll be able to address that in the forum for today. But know that in this proposal you put forward in draft form and then final form the following week, that you will be required to fill out certain parts of the proposal. You'll fill out the proposal together, but there are certain parts of it that you both need to contribute to, so be aware of that. And finally, the last thing I wanted to say was, in this proposal resources page, you'll notice that there are some student samples. And what probably would be most helpful, I separated these, as you can see online here, in the proposals themselves and then the final projects. And I think that all of these projects, except maybe one, emerged from last summer. So people working across the country, as you all are, working online, did these projects. And you can see the final projects, which contains all the sort of ending material that these students wound up with. And these are really impressive projects. You can see these listed in this folder under final projects. But it might be useful to sort of look at those and think about, well, that's where we're going to land at some point with our projects. But for now, in completing this current project proposal, you can look at those same people, those same students, and their early proposals and see how they turned out. And there's several very good examples. Just follow the examples. Here is a student who was working out of the San Francisco Bay Area last semester, and she did an amazing job. And you'll look at her proposal and her final project. She went above and beyond. She really got interested in this project, and she sketches her background, and she gives the inquiry element of why she thinks that this project is not only going to be a good service project, but what she's going to learn as a result. And she just does such a nice job. And you'll notice that she has cited sources. It really is, in some ways, a model for us all to aim for, above and beyond, like super A level work. Some of the other proposals are also very strong. They're not all necessarily slam dunks. I wanted you to see that they're not all perfect. There are typos and errors in some of them, but they all express this core idea that there's an interesting service project that will allow you to work on this inquiry, problem solving, so that you're not just emptying trash bins or doing just manual labor, but that there's an opportunity for you to work with problem solving and utilize your your skills as a college student and maybe in an area of your major or your interest. And you'll see how she's done that very well with her action plan. A very detailed proposal, and so that's probably not all of us are capable or interested in doing such a detailed and above and beyond sort of proposal, but it's a good model to aim for, don't you think? And so I point that out to you. There are 4 of these proposals, sample proposals listed here. You can look at them all. They can serve as a model. It should give you some sense. And that's really where we're at now. Don't sweat it too much if you're just sort of getting initial ideas out there, but be thinking down the road what you can practically do, what you can realistically do this summer. So that's basically it. Hang in there. We do a lot of work in this class, I know, but hopefully by the end of the course, I think if you just concentrate one lesson at a time, you'll see that we'll wind up at the end in very good shape. And I also wanted to just applaud you all so far for your responses to the Friday forum. The initial posting of questions was quite good. You all understand the concept of challenge questions, and some of you have already started to respond. And I recognize that a Path Appears is a challenging book. It's journalism, it's reporting, it's a little bit dry perhaps, but it is also a book that is broken up into lots of smaller pieces and focuses on smaller stories and smaller examples, and you can kind of go from section to section. It's not the sort of book that you have to read with intense sort of just every word, sweating over every word, I think, and just use it as a resource to expose you to this wealth of examples and resources and what people have struggled with in the past and what they've done to try and address this. It really is a broad-ranging work. I really like some of the resources that they list in there and some of the approaches, and it's a 100-level course. I'm not expecting you to memorize every page. I'm just want you to be exposed to what those authors are doing and see this world of responses to the challenges facing the world. So just hang in there with that. Keep doing the best you can. I'll start to give you some feedback on the forums on Friday once you post your responses to everybody and start the next section of the Friday forum. All right. Good job, everybody. See you again on Thursday. Just do your best with the work and keep plugging away. Email me if you have any questions.